Right, hello YouTube. Welcome back to some more Kerbal Space Program. Now, last time, I was getting a little bit tired out, I will not lie. It ended up being very late by the time I was done, but we finally completed our grand tour. Our big visit all five Moons of Jewel mission. Now, our grand goal for the series was always to visit Eeloo and put a colony up there. As mentioned, we finished the grand tour. We brought back 26,000 science and also discovered that the money gauge had an entire extra digit on it that I didn't know it had. Just to represent like the thousands or millions or whatever. So, I'm thinking, as of today, we will start actually designing our colony ship and also picking what technologies we want for it. There are a few ways we can go with this in terms of our ship, and we have to decide which ones we want to take. And I think the most important one to look at first is our engines. There are three 10,000 research like sort of super high-end engine techs, as well as a handful of smaller ones, such as the exotic nuclear ones. All of these will have some advantages and disadvantages, and I guess we need to kind of pick what. So, firstly, unified field theory probably gives us the most options. We get the Frisbee antimatter engine, which is an antimatter torch. It is very powerful, pretty efficient. And by pretty efficient, I mean over 100,000. But I think that's over 1 million. So, yeah. Extraordinarily powerful antimatter engine. Antimatter and liquid hydrogen, anyway. Obviously, it would be a very powerful option, but would need antimatter. There are antimatter facilities, such as the Nova. Or we need to buy some antimatter with science, which is not really ideal. I don't really want to be spending science on consumable antimatter. Though whether that means we could bring antimatter back down and get science, I don't know. But that's an option. We might have to produce antimatter on the fly. It also has the downside of being enormous. If you want the full radiators, because you can make it longer and longer and have built-in cooling. Yeah, 110 meters long. It's enormous. There's also the Niven. A very hot but exceptionally powerful 3,800, but nearly as powerful as the Frisbee, but massively smaller. Nuclear saltwater engine, very simple. Make sure would be able to just straight up fly this, unlike the other engines that we have to keep igniting and whatever. There's also the Cascade Z-Pinch engine, which is a fusion plasma engine, I believe, but a different sort. Actually generates power when it's running. And that runs on deuterium and helium-3 and potentially liquid hydrogen if you want to boost it. We also get warp engines. Yeah, it's deliberately not mentioning those, but they're just straight up warp drives as well. These run on graviolium, I believe, and liquid deuterium. Now, the only thing I am not so sure of on these is I haven't got a clue how you get graviolium. I don't know whether it's something you could start with. I have a feeling you have to collect it, maybe. Mine it. I'm actually not sure. But yes, obviously though, warp drive would be absolutely the quickest way to get there, and in theory one of the easiest. So definitely one I'm considering. Jump gate technologies allows you to build jump portals. You can jump between. Very cool, very large, very heavy. Also, Jesus Christ, and not even, yeah, we don't even have that much. Not sure we're even going to go for that one, but yes, that generates entire jump gates. And does use graviolium, so maybe not even the best idea anyway. There's also high-density fusion. Gives us the Ouroboros fusion engine. Not sure what the stats are like on that one. Middling engine. Reasonably common fuel. I believe it also generates power. Oh, no, maybe it doesn't. And the Hammertong, which is... oh, laser fusion engine. Okay. Interesting. Again, very high delta V, but very mediocre thrust. Although I think it's one of these ones, yeah, you can maybe increase the output. So yeah, probably out of these three, we'd still have to take some extra ones. That's Unified Field Theory is probably looking like the best because it gives us the most options. Exotic fusion reactors on its own will give us the Fresnel, which is another fairly high efficiency fusion engine. Not hugely high thrust, although we can boost it quite significantly if we throw in some liquid hydrogen as an extra. But still really good stats, honestly. It's still, don't get me wrong, they're still very impressive. We just went straight for advanced fusion. We could take the Discovery, another tokamak engine. I believe this one, 8,000. I think that's better than ours. We were using on the last mission the Vern, so to give you an idea of where we are. Oh, ours was more efficient. Okay. 640 thrust, 9,500 ISP. What is the Discovery? Is that the one I was looking at? Yeah. Yes, that is better. Why was I looking at it was 8,000? Oh, that's the high power mode. Yeah, it's on the low power mode. Yeah, I think that's a straight up improvement. And it generates power once running. So yeah, that could be an option. Also, for I think the lowest cost, or one of the lowest costs, we can go this way. Get the Asimov antimatter rocket. Oh no, fission fragment rocket. I thought that was antimatter, that one. So an improved fission fragment rocket, low thrust, but again, very good power. And you can, as usual, inject liquid hydrogen for a bit of a boost, although it does come at a significant efficiency decrease. And also the Heinlein, the small nuclear saltwater rocket. Not that that means much. This is not a huge engine. And you might notice 2k thrust, almost 4,008 delta V. So probably the absolute simplest way to go would be this way, the Heinlein. This might be an episode with a lot of debating going on because we have to decide how we're going to spend this science. We have a few other options we could look at. The Vulcan allows us to refine uranium. This could allow us to bring nuclear reactors and refurbish them on flight. We can also gain access to more powerful nuclear reactors and fusion reactors as well as fission. It's the fusion reactor. But I don't believe any of those give us anything, but we might need to take them if we wanted to go this route, because there's another route we can go. Antimatter power gives us the Kasaba, which is such a long name that it doesn't even fit. 420 thrust, about 1,400 ISP, although, interestingly, this is one that uses ablator and apparently can't... Oh, yeah, can't drain from other parts. So, with the assistance of a Vulcan, we'd be able to refuel that more easily because it would need to... basically, the ablator is like a solid, I guess, sort of plate or something on it that's burned up over time. But, again, pretty high specs. Doesn't need a lot of power to recharge. What's the other option here? Ah, yes, the antimatter engine. I knew there was one somewhere. It looks like the other one, which I think is why I got them confused. They've both got the sort of twin nozzle. Yeah, again, low thrust, but very high delta V. Does use antimatter. A little bit of extra stuff. So, potentially a usable option. Now, if we do go for antimatter, we'll need to take, I think, at least, yeah, we'll at least need to go out to exotic fuel storage as well. So we need the anti-proton storage ring at least, or the larger storage containers. Oh my word. Is that what they... Hang on, how much did that carry? 50 antimatter. How much these go? Oh, yeah, thousands. Look at that nightmare of a cost. 9.6 million. Although you can use that for mining. You can produce antimatter and ship it down for money. To get to that point, we have these two sciences, which I think I'm just going to take anyway, because the way I want to design this ship, I want to go sort of classic sci-fi. I'm thinking we have a long spinal truss, and we dock the colony modules. I want to maybe have at least 4 colony modules, maybe 6 or 8. But I think what we do is we dock them along the edge of the truss, and for the truss, we want either the octo girders or the square ones, or maybe even the round ones, but I think we'll take the round or square. So we're going to take these two anyway. They're not tremendously expensive for the amount of science we have. It gives us loads of options, corners, straights, all that good stuff. Orbital, not orbital assembly, but I believe, yeah, orbital megastructures gives us docking ports, so we might have to take that as well. Might do that now, actually. Because docking ports profiled for it. We'll probably only be able to take one of these. I think even if I wanted to take more than one, we'd have to pay a fair bit to get to that, so now we have to be careful with our spending. These are parts for big space planes. We're not going to worry about those. We haven't been going down a space plane route this playthrough. Now, we could potentially take larger cabins. We have some pretty big ones, but we could always upgrade. I think we're probably okay now, though. We're only going to have a reasonably small crew. Don't believe there's anything on this. No. Here is potentially another route we could go. And this is a route we've not really developed, but it is available. basically kind of the upgrades to ion thrusters from near future technology rather than far future, like the big engines up there. These are things like improved sort of grid thrusters, or the larger ones like the Vasmir and the magnetoplasma dynamic thrusters, which give pretty good outcomes. Their fuel is significantly cheaper, but budget is not a huge issue unless we go for something crazy expensive. So we get pretty good numbers. 6,000. It isn't huge thrust, but that is potentially an option. What do we got here? Oh, guidance unit and a guide core. That's actually quite good. That'd be quite a good form factor for our ship, but this we're gonna have a man crew anyway. Electronics and things. This I think was one I wanted to take because not in that one, but this one specifically. Yeah, I'm going to take this one regardless because this one gives us RTGs. We will finally be free from solar power. Yes, these things have a little bit of radioactive material decaying and will generate power. Yes, we will just get a bit of power over time if we have one of those. Though we could also improve our solar panel tech for some larger ones, or some just different ones. The largest one, I believe, being the Titan. It's an enormous, great wide one. We may also need specialized radiators, because heat generation is going to start to be an issue. It'll also be quite nice to maybe improve our habitation, get some of the larger centrifuges and whatnot, and the larger hydroponics. But I'm going to take this one anyway, because I wanted the hydroponics modules for the surface base, so we're just outright going to take that. What's colonization goes? Well, that goes just like living domes, does it? That would be good. How much does that cost? 2,500. It's a bit. I think we need to decide our engines. I think that'll be one of the next bits. Although, do we want to take field science quickly while we're here so we have the rover autopilot in case we need to move bits? Because I've been considering putting these bases on wheels as well. Here as well. I don't think we need any of that stuff. Yeah, we'll take that. I'd like to be able to, if we have to move the base around, I'd like to not have to be in command of it for hours. Traveling by rover is slow. So, out of our engine types, if we do push all the way to the end, and we don't necessarily have to, we could take one of the sort of not so final tier ones. Is this an engine that needs to charge up, or is this one that can just be ran whenever? Oh, higher lengths, way more, but work better. Oh, that's instant throttle response. Oh, I think that means you can stay on. Maybe? I'm not sure. I do. Fresno is vaguely tempting. It's kind of based on the technology I think we've been using before. Like deuterium and helium-3. It's quite low fuel requirements. It's not hugely high thrust, but we could always put liquid hydrogen as part of the craft. What would we have at that point? If we research to that level, we could also... we could use the tokamak. I think that's the next engine we get anyway, this one. It's about double the efficiency of our last one, so we wouldn't need as much fuel mass, I suppose, at least. But again, I've had good luck. I have had good experiences with the nuclear saltwater rockets before. And admittedly, going out to here would unlock the big one, but we might even get away with just this one. The fuel's not cheap, but again, we've got so much money. Look at that performance stats. 18,000 thrust, 38,000. I think we go down this route. I think we take this one for now. And if we'll have some sites left over, we won't spend it all. Maybe. If we have some left over, we could potentially then, if we decide it's not good enough, maybe upgrade. But one thing I do need to check, what is the heat output? Waste heat, 8,000. I think we can vent that, but I'm going to take specialized radiators. These radiators are light. They're sort of small profile. I am very tempted to go all the way up to these as well. We get a massive centrifuge there, but I don't think we need that necessarily. What's logistics? I don't know that we need those too much. We could take some better solar panels because we're going to be a long... even though like we will have RTGs, we're going to be a long way from Kerbin. Or we could take reactors and have a nuclear reactor on board. Would provide heat out in the cold. That might not be the worst idea I've ever come up with. Especially if we built the craft so it could be self-sustaining and recharge its own reactor. But again, solar panels wouldn't need to worry about that ever. They'd just keep running as long as it was daytime. What are our options? A load of general panels. This one leads to like the massive, the huge blanket arrays. Hmm. Hmm. Many options. Of course, yeah, there's command modules. We've got so much science now, I don't know what to do with it. I guess we don't need this. What the difference between that one is, but, oh, huge 7-meter tank. Although the big cryogenic fuel tank could be good, because we might... This thing use... No, we're using the nuclear saltwater rocket. We don't need that fuel. Right. Yeah, I guess we... What do we think for power? I think solar... I kind of like... I like the look of solar. We've been running on it so far. It can land on, Eeloo, because there's no atmosphere. Do we go all the way up to the Titan? I mean... No, we'll leave it there for now. Okay. We'll leave some science. I don't have to spend as much as I thought we would. Let's potentially look into designing at least a rough idea for the craft, maybe laying it out. This might be something where I give it a bit more planning off screen and sort of decide the layout. But I believe we have... How many crew do we have at this point? So that will be our final crew for the colony. It'll be 7 Kerbals, although we might hire some more. If we assume 7 major crew for the colony, and then we potentially hire a bunch more. Let's think. So, let's first take a look at our engine. I don't know where this comes. I don't believe it's enormous, but it's not tiny. I think it's like a 2-meter profile engine. Maybe? No? Yes. Yes, it's a 2-meter engine. We could potentially run more than one, of course. Right, the fuel tank. Fishables tank, I believe that's the one. Nuclear saltwater, that's the one. Yeah, so immediately you notice 20k delta V on a tiny little rocket at a 4.6 ratio. It isn't cheap. It is like 420,000, for example, for that tank. But yes, so we do get pretty good performance out of this. And again, if we have to change it up, if we decide the ship's going to be too heavy, we could change it up. But let's start, in fact, with... Why not? We'll start with one of these, assuming this will be the head of the ship. Actually, we probably want the... One Minerva? So is that the right size for that? Yeah. Okay. How many does that hold? Crew capacity of 5, and then the dome? 2. Yeah, that would do it. So if we assume this is our bridge, this looks quite spaceshipy. I do want this ship to look pretty cool, given it will be the last one. Cargo door? Ah. That's kind of cool. Okay, so we then move back to the main truss. Oh yeah, where's the... Oh. And we're back after a brief moment of realising that I'd not hit the re-record button. Sorry about that. I'd done some quick throwing together. I'm thinking maybe something like this for our sort of engine section. And then at the bottom we have our main actual fuel tanks. Now, this might be the bit where I decided we do need a more efficient engine. Much I like the nuclear saltwater rocket, I think this might be a bit on the large side, especially considering we're going to have to assume that we're going to be moving a lot more weight around. I might even do a quick kind of weight with a rough guess of what this thing's actually going to weigh. But if we just have a few nuclear saltwater rockets on now, what does it sort of add up to? I'd say 3, assuming we would run that configuration. 20k? Okay. And if we assume each colony module maybe weighs about the same as a Lion lander. Where's our vessel mass? So our current vessel mass is 200 tons. If we assume we're adding... How much are these? About 20 tons. So we assume we're going to be carrying, say, 60-ton colony modules. We'll say this is colony sample. Whip. Okay, this might take a bit of planning, this particular mission. Okay, yeah, that's not really good enough performance just yet. Although with only a 10-minute burn, we could certainly add more fuel. So that's not a long burn or a tremendous fuel weight. We're up to roughly 2 million craft, but again, that's fine. It's one of our last missions. We've got about 10 million. I could potentially do it. It doesn't actually have to do that much in terms of getting out to Eeloo. Once it's there, it can just sort of stop. I'm not so happy about this. Maybe we should even consider those large round trusses. Don't know how we attach docking ports to them, but like these ones specifically. Like, yeah, like those ones. What could we put in those? We can make them solid. We can open the sides up for putting stuff in them. So what the caps are. Not like we can't stick docking ports on the side, but still. Let's have another quick look at the engines. We might go one better than the nuclear saltwater. I do really love them, and they do have a reasonable thrust away and everything on that. But we might go for something a bit fancier for the sake of having, just making sure we're definitely going to have enough thrust, and also maybe fitting the profile for our current engines and set up a bit better because it looks like we're going to be on some pretty large diameter. Now, we can't actually get to a 10k anymore. But we could definitely go, I think even maybe both. Take both the Fresnel and or the Sabre and the Direct, as well as the Discovery. I don't believe there's any more engines up this tier. Yeah, so we could... Do we just take both and then just decide when we can see them on the ship? Yeah, I think that's what we do. Let's take that. Take that. And see what we could work with potentially here. Now I think about it, antimatter might have been a silly one to take because I don't think we have any fuel tanks for it. Let's just quickly take exotic fuel storage as well. So at least test it, and we get that huge cryogenic tank, which will be useful. Or could potentially be useful anyway. Cryogenic fuels or liquid hydrogen is a weird one because it's very, very light, but you need a huge amount of it because it's not dense at all. So you just need a very large volume of it. So, with the potential other options unlocked, let's see what we're looking at. So, the Fresnel, which is one of the fusion engines. Oh, that's a looker. It's not a bad size. That's actually, in fact, I think that's actually the right size for this ship. Unlike the others, yeah. Okay, this is the one that can be longer. Well, that would kind of act as the truss in and of itself, which is actually a very nice little advantage that one would give us. Maybe this is the way to go. Now, of course, it does have the other issue of, well, look at the sheer length of this thing. It's huge. What does this thing run on? This is the Fresnel, right? Deuterium. Literally just deuterium and thingy. Okay. And this is at its max length, so this is when it will be running at its most effective. Fusion fuels tank. Oh, does it have to be the other type? Yes, okay. Okay, that's a good start. That's good performance. Excellent Delta V. We have to add the weight of this on as our approximate weight of say, 4 modules, for example. Oh, 10k. Oh, jeez, that drops off fast. Right. Oh, it's a 4-hour burn, so it's already really long with 2 of them. A one Kerbal day burn. That's 20k. It's very simple. You do not need many materials, I guess you would say. These landers are 60 tons as well. They're not tremendously heavy. Okay, that is an option, though. There's an option we could do. So we could go for the fusion engine and have some very long burns. What would be next on the list? The Kasaba. Now, we do need antimatter for this. So where's our... We're also not factoring in the weight of radiators yet. So assuming this was full... Oh, that's the attachment point, I see. What am I missing? Why are you not running? Or why were you not giving me a Delta V readout at least? Oh, fission pellets. Okay. It might be that 50 is actually enough to run it for a decent amount of time. I'm just not sure. Where is the pellet tank? Come on. Oh, they're big, aren't they? We used them on the other ship, didn't we? Is that due to the antimatter, or is that... If we double the antimatter tank, does that increase our distance we can go a lot? No. Okay. So it's the fusion pellets then, or the fission pellets. Did that actually increase or did that go down? Oh, is it 1 to 1? Is it one? Is it basically one of these tanks roughly to one of the others? No, it's just a worse ratio. Is it weight? Yes? No? Weird performance out of this one. I think it's weight is the issue there. Dare I even ask? 7,000. Yeah, this extra weight's gonna make a big difference no matter what we do here. We may end up having to have a multi-engine craft, which is an option. We can have multiple engines, even if they're advanced sci-fi ones, so there's nothing telling us we can't have two and synchronize them. Right, okay, so far, Fresnel. Good profile for the craft. Not necessarily powerful enough. We could... Is this the one we can uprun with? Yeah, we could potentially boost it with liquid hydrogen, which we should maybe actually check. Mr. Fresnel. Let's maybe actually check that quickly. Did I accidentally chuck away? Oh, I chucked away our counterweight, didn't I? Oh, that's fine. That's fine. If I quickly check that with liquid hydrogen, what kind of performance do we get out of this? What was it on? About 70k delta V before, I think? If we add... say one of those big tanks we've got of liquid hydrogen. Toggle mode. Afterburner. 50,000, but with a bit of a thrust to weight ratio increase. Okay, hang on, so it's not the hydrogen that's holding it back, it's the fusion fuel. Okay, that just needs to be some kind of semi-soft cap we're getting from the weight of it. Alright, next engine on the chopping block is the fission... What even is the name of this one? At 30 newtons, I might be tempted to write this one off immediately, but this uses the fission pellets, like the other rocket. Maybe it doesn't. Hang on, what is this then? Frag. Pellet? Okay, I think there's a container. What else did it run on? Is there a reason why this thing won't start? Oh. We're in the wrong mode. I see. For whatever reason, I can't even see how much that gives me. Don't tell me all of these are bad. I guess we could go for the salt water if we have to. I think the others we've seen, haven't we? Not super promising from the research development for all the stuff they've done. Oh, the tokamak we haven't checked out yet, I don't think. So I think this is something closer to Have we checked the direct either? Did we already do this one? We haven't done that one yet, I don't think either, so we'll check that one in a sec. The Discovery. Let's see, what does that run on? Liquid, so it's fusion fuel and liquid hydrogen. This might be way too much, I don't know. Might just be way too much fusion fuel, but right. Big tank, one of these. What are we looking at? 25k, low delta V. Not stellar. Functional, but not stellar. And we could potentially shrink the top down, but again, I want to make this a really nice, big craft. So we'll have to see what we can do. Right. The last one was the... I think... the direct, so that needs... does need those, it needs antimatter. Unless it's the one we just checked. But, where's the... It's 20k. What's the thing it's running short on? Is it antimatter or is it the other? Okay, it is antimatter. Extreme slow burn, but good efficiency. Okay. This was the one that looked like our deal. I think this is a case of I may have to do a little bit of designing off screen. I know I try to show most of it on screen, but I think I might have to do a bit of work into this off screen and see what I can come up with as what looks like our best method. So I'll see you guys in a moment. Alright, so I used a simple ballast tank, this roughly 300-ton fuel tank, to sort of equivalent? To act as a sort of equivalent for the mass of the ship. And yeah, something like this seems to be the best way. It is the nuclear saltwater rockets. Because of the thrust, which is the big problem at the moment, because they've got such a huge amount of it. Comparatively, they're a better choice seemingly at the moment for a huge ship like this. And yes, it just seems like a lot of those stacked up on a large plate seems to be the way to go. I'll actually change the amount on this. I do want 7 though. You notice. We've got like 70k delta V, which probably will be enough actually to move this whole thing out to Eeloo. And it can burn it in 17 minutes. It's actually really high burn rate as well. It's not like it's burning for 3 days. So we do need an adapter to adapt to this enormous plate, and I'm not sure we have one. We might have to drag out a... there's probably a fuel tank somewhere that's meant to be connected to a tank of that scale. And that's the Saturn V's F1 adapter stage, and it looks tiny. Well, not tiny, but it looks small comparatively. It's like, my word. Hollow. Yeah, that'll do it. So that will be our engine stack in theory. We have quite a lot of fuel on board, 4 million worth, but again, it's apparently enough. So now I need to design... Well... Actually, there is one other thing I need to do first. The only thing with having that many is heat. Rather a lot of it. It's in 50,000 in this case. We just straight up go for some graphene radiators and we go for the largest size. How much are we venting at the moment? We'll need a few of these then. Because those nuclear saltwater rockets will get hot. I'm not sure how we transport these up. Whether these will survive atmospheric transit or not. That to be something we'll have to check. Can we do a double of those? Okay. Yes, these graphene ones are, as far as I'm aware, by far the best heat radiators. Okay, so that would do it. So they need an actual docking truss where the counterweight would be. Take that out for the moment. And I need the truss that would actually dock to. And I guess we can go back to using the square one we wanted to. I guess the form factor for this is right if we've got a... It's kind of the wrong way. I kind of need the square one going down, not up. Isn't one of these kind of square looking though? No, okay. Come on, there must be something. Ah, there we go. There is one. Okay. I guess maybe we won't pressurize it. I guess maybe we'll just have it be over space. Yeah. That looks alright. Actually, hang on. Is that the right diameter? That isn't. Okay, we do need a small adapter there. Okay, maybe not quite that small. Yeah, there we go. That could be... Yeah, like that. That could be metal, actually, because it's going to be very basic. Okay. So that is... Oh, we need docking ports. So I'm thinking maybe 4 colonies. 4 colony modules in the centre here. Don't think we had an adapter, though, did we? So we'll have to do some bits one moment. Right, we're back. Sorry about the slight mess of cuts that this episode has turned into. It was a case of... It's a different day now. It was a case of just... I had a lot going on that day, and I had to get some recording in quickly. And I was getting interrupted by people coming in and out of the room. But this is what we've ended up with for the colony ship so far. Stop the rotation. So, I did work out a method for docking. The stock, like, metal plates... The ones that are in the game by default, they're just under structural. No, not those ones, though. The other type. Oh, maybe they aren't by default, but... These structural panels Coincidentally, or perhaps not so much, exactly the right diameter to fit the box frame. That might even be a bit of deliberate design. So, yeah, 4 of those, and they're also exactly the same size as the docking parts for the box girders. So what I'm thinking is we'll have 4 of those in the formation like this. We'll attach the colonies modules to it. What I will do is auto strut? Yes. We'll auto strut those docking ports so they don't wobble, and we'll also auto strut the front of the ship. So that should strut it to the very back of the ship and make it nice and solid. So we're nearly done with the core of the ship. I'm going to retract that for a moment. I'm also going to change hangar extender because the ship's quite big. I am thinking I'll try and... I don't know whether I want to try and launch this whole thing in one go, or whether I want to add a separating part there and launch the front of the ship and the truss with one and the engines with the other. How... do we have docking ports big enough to do that? Let me have a look. I'm going to wrap this episode up fairly soon. I want to get the core of the ship done. Where are... oh, the Mondo. Oh, the Mondo's actually bigger than that. Okay, so we definitely do have enough. I'll just have to... yeah, the Grand. That's the same one we used on the other ship. Oh, cool. So that could work. Yeah, so we might split that into 2 pieces because the engine is quite a heavy... oh my god, in fact, it's the absolute majority. The engine weighs like almost 600 tons and the top section weighs like 30. Christ. Actually, but it does have to be rock solid, and considering the engine is so heavy that it won't really make the launch much easier, I might even just leave that as one piece. Okay. But there is one more thing we need to do. Or a few little last bits we need to add. First of all, power. So, I'm thinking I'd like to have the absolute largest possible solar panels we can on it. And I thought we had the Titan, but maybe we don't. So I guess we'll go for some Ares solar panels. What's these weight? Not much, about 8 tons. Not light, but not huge. Okay. That's too large then, so I guess we'll go for 2. Do they have a... yeah, they do have a sort of... oh. I don't really want to block windows, and I don't really want to put them there either, because then they're in the way of the thing. Kind of a fusion reactor, but what I think we will instead do is... well, we'll still have some solar panels. Go for maybe 4 of these. Yeah, it's a sort of auxiliary pass. Actually, no, because they're not going to be enough, are they? Because we know how much the... what about these style? The strip style ones. Oh, that would do it. Yeah, that would definitely do it. How much power do we get out of these? These are the, what, the... not the Ares, the... Gateway? 100 a second, yeah. Okay. They should still be powerful enough to get some sun out in the distance. Although we'll reorient them for ascent. I don't think we're going to be able to fairing this craft. We're probably going to have to strap boosters to the side of it. But we will also have RTGs. We're going to go nuclear. Because those will work at any distance. So we'll never have a moment where we run out of power again. At least not forever. It's radiothermal generators. I'll mount them just in front of the cockpits. Yep, infinite power in that little unit. Don't do anything, doesn't need feeding anything. It's pretty good stuff. Now, there's one other thing we need. RCS. We're probably going to want to be able to at least have the ability to reorient this thing in flight. I think these can hold monopropellant. Yeah. Although we maybe want more than that, because it's quite a big craft, perhaps. What sort of RCS thrusters have we got? We could even use plasma RCS, perhaps. They're very fuel efficient. They're low power, but they are getting cheap. Oh, electricity is another thing we need, actually. I don't think we particularly have any batteries on board this thing. Yeah, let's have a really big battery pack. Just have a... because power was something we had trouble with before. Yeah, it's not very heavy. Yeah, we'll have that, and then we'll actually use maybe these thrusters, which need argon. Can we load argon into these? If we can, that'll be... yeah, there we go. I've never really used this type of thruster before, but why not? Let's give them a try. They're not going to be hugely powerful, but they will be nice and efficient. The amount of fuel we brought with us. This is not really meant to dock with other craft. This is more just for rotating the main ship. Yeah, we've got 4 at the bottom as well. I don't really need 8. And probably the torque in the modules will be doing more work to actually rotate the ship than anything else, but that's fine. So, I think that should probably about do it for the core. Oh, an antenna. So that's the last thing we need. Swing to that 50. No, we need the full 400G. We need as much range on this thing as we can get. We'll put it on the tanks. That's probably the easiest way. It does blend in a little bit, but yeah, that's fine. And then a relay antenna feed. Line that up with the center. Why not? There we go. And then fold it in. Okay. So, the next part. We do have to work out how on earth we're going to launch this. 600 tons. We could potentially launch it unfueled and then fuel it in space. But obviously it's going to be heavy, whatever we do, because we're basically loading a ship full of water. It only needs about 3,000 to get it to space, and then it can, in theory, do its maneuvers on its own if it needed to, but also have to figure out how do I attach them to it, because it's obviously ended up with a wide base profile. Potentially do 4 very large boosters here. It does have a high enough thrust to weight that it could theoretically launch itself. But control of this thing, considering it's massive. It is powerful enough to launch itself. The other thing would be fuel. And we're still going to have to go out to Eeloo, but that is interesting. It is actually powerful enough that it could theoretically just lift itself outright. But I'm thinking gigantic boosters. And I'm not even sure they're going to be enough. 1.07. Yeah, these alone just straight up are not powerful enough. What about if we had another 2? Oh man, they're so close to those radiators. That's iffy. Getting the thrust to weight values we need, but not the profile. That is their desktop. Click that by accident. Well, they're sending me some stuff about Undertale. Right, let's shift this up. Let's try building something beneath it. It's going to have to be huge, but then it's going to be strutted very heavily, but we'll give it a try. There's the decoupler. Yeah. What's the biggest engine plate we have? That one. I'll do it. Let's try quartz. We had a few of those. How on earth do we... This is a little bit of a problem in that this profile for this ship is awkward. Oh, I guess we could do... Yeah, I mean, we might just have to rely on its own engines to actually put itself into orbit, but if we could chuck it up there, basically, give it just a huge kick off the ground to get it going, even if it's unstable and inefficient and whatnot. This is what we call probably a bad idea. And we'll try and run the launch in the next episode. I think I'll probably launch these as I go and build these as I go. But we can test it against the one in the hangar for the sake of making sure it'll definitely work. Yes, this is seriously what I'm going with. Like I say, I'm definitely going to have to strap parts of this. 5 million ship, and we're launching it on the back of this kind of setup. Why on earth are you on a different stage? All on the same one, please. The whole section will just come apart. Yeah, okay, that might be enough to get it up there. Let's try. Oh, not 6 times symmetry, 4 times symmetry. Okay, and then if we go Auto strut. Root part. I don't even know if that'll work. Hang on, hang on. Auto strut to the root part. I'm not even seeing a line. Does that even work? Press the wrong button as well, which is not helping. We'll try setting them all to that. And then also strut them to each other. I don't know if that's actually going to work. I might have to just settle for this. This is almost certainly not going to work. I'm probably going to have to do some rethinking. I might even have to redesign this whole thing. I can't even launch support it properly because it's the wrong shape. Hang on, let's try this quickly. To end the episode, let's very quickly try this. And see what we get. Rename the craft once you're in orbit. We do need to come up with a proper name for it. It might just be something like Eve Colony Ship, to be fair. Right. I'm fully prepared for this thing to just explode on launch pad, but we'll see what we get. One does not simply launch 600 tons. At least not in a super long profile as well like this. I have to think what is this? Vessel mass 3,500 tons. Mother of God. Right, let's. Yeah, auto stage at stage 0. Let's try it. No. Unsurprisingly, that did not work. Maybe we need to lift. I think maybe we need to lift from the sides rather than from the bottom. Or push from the bottom. I think that's probably the better way to go about it. So if we go here, that's what I'm thinking. I tell you what, we'll wrap the episode up there. I will do a bit of design off screen, because I think this could take a bit of fiddling to make something that works, and we'll start the next episode, ideally showing off whatever seems to be working. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to getting going with this. We're finally on to our final mission, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye-bye.